Hey, I'm MJ.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to Keeping It Casual,
A sex-positive dating and relationship advice podcast.
Yes, I'm married with 2 kids.
And I'm navigating this crazy dating world.
We're just here to share our drama.
And the wild stories of our listeners.
Your Vegas girls are here for you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Good evening.
Let's do a little pre-show cheers.
Let's cheers.
We are drinking out of Vegas Golden Knights cups. We are drinking a Menage a Trois soft red blend.
That's right.
Almost a year ago to the day, actually, we were supposed to be drinking a bottle of wine with a good friend of ours.
Yes, for her birthday. She just came back in town and
she was supposed to be on the podcast.
Yeah, she just went through some big things, and she'd always been somebody that had loved to just inspire and just always put on the face. Like, she was just never wanted to bring anybody down. You know, she was the best time. I mean, she was like the best fun. One of the most fun I've ever had was with her and stuff. So. Yeah.
Actually, if you listen to our episode to Brittany, we didn't really get into it much because at the time we couldn't. It was new. The wounds were raw, real, and we didn't even really know what had happened. We just knew that she took her life.
We lost her, and it happened to be on her. She did it the day before her birthday, her 39th birthday.
39th, that's what it was.
And she was just coming back to Vegas to visit and had a job interview, and, you know, because she had recently
toured Europe.
Yep. She had recently lost a job very publicly, but you know what? She was staying really positive, and we were talking, and that's kind of, you know, when we came back, we said, hey, we're not here to put anything on blast. We just want to chat with you because we love your energy and your spirit and wanted you to be here. Yeah. So, you know, we lost her, and it was super heavy. It was really hard.
It was. It was crazy because she had lost her job and her relationship, and, you know, MJ had just lost her job. I had just lost my relationship, and she was going to come on and be like, girls, I just got back from Europe. I was writing a book. I was doing all this. Like, she was coming on to be like, you're in the dark right now, but this is where you're going to be. And then she took her life. So Bree and I were talking about what we wanted to do this week, and we were reminded what was happening a year ago, and we wanted to remember her, and we just wanted to open up a conversation about mental health.
Yeah, mental health, and just being really vulnerable and honest with you guys, because no matter what kind of silly show we put on for you weekly and stuff, you know, we go through some deep stuff, we go through some hard stuff, and we like to keep it light, but we think it's time to really check in and just be honest about some things that have triggered us, and maybe we want to give you a chance to check in with yourself. Maybe somebody you know that maybe putting on a happy face, they might need you to squeeze them a little tighter. And sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I could have called, or I could have rushed over there a second she got here, or I could have done this or that. And
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
When somebody, you never know.
But what's important to know is that everybody who loved her, and everybody loved this girl, man. Everybody loved Brittany. It's so hard for us to heal. Like, even if you think it's the answer, like, people are here still, you know, just still wishing there was something they can do. So it's just time to check in with yourself, and maybe with a friend, and see how you're doing. So we wanted to start that off today.
Yeah.
Bree and I were just talking this week, and we talk all the time. We talk every day. And one night we didn't talk. And the next day we caught up. I was like, I'm sorry. It was just kind of, I don't know. I was just kind of going through something. I don't know what it was. I was just feeling mopey. I was feeling down. I was just feeling like I couldn't talk to anybody. And what did you say?
I said, oh, I had a panic attack last night. So yeah, same thing.
I was like, what is going on with us? And it's crazy that we didn't reach out to each other.
No, well, my panic attacks, like, I don't like to draw anybody into them. And last year was very anxiety ridden for me. I mean, I've dealt with this most of my adult life. It's crazy because, like, a lot of the times when I was younger, I didn't realize I was having anxiety attacks. Yeah. I just thought I was a little wound up. But, like, I didn't realize what it was till I turned probably about 27.
Really?
26, 27. Yeah, I good Lord. Trigger warning. This whole episode is a huge trigger warning, everybody. So, when I was about 26, 27, I had a really bad miscarriage. And
I've been there.
My boyfriend and I had broke up. I was going through a miscarriage. I had no support from him. It was a really early on miscarriage, but it was still really bad and really daunting to my body. And I had no support.
Yeah.
So I got spiraling depressed, and I definitely teetered on the brink of self-conclusion, which is my very fancy way of trying to say that, like, I tried to take my own life, and failed. Failed at it, thank God. I don't mean to laugh. This is how I nervously get through this conversation.
It's okay.
And that's when I started really getting deep into therapy. I realized that, like, a lot of the anxiety I was feeling, it wasn't just like a little odd beats thing. My therapist, like, you know, really walked me through it and was like, you know, this is a disorder. This depression is also a chemical imbalance in your brain. She's like, you're not weird. It's actually very common. Mm-hmm. But mental health isn't something that people talk a lot about. It's something that I don't talk a lot about.
No, and it's also something that's scary to talk about when you have a job or a career too, because you don't want them to think you're unfit or unstable to hold your job. And it's a very touchy subject to talk around. So was that the first time you had went to, like, therapy after that? Because you were like, I need to talk to somebody right now.
Yeah, I knew I was at probably the lowest point in my life. And yeah, that was the first time I went to therapy. I got on mood stabilizers. I was good for a while. And then I got off the mood stabilizers when I started feeling a lot better. I'm back on them now. I don't drug shame people. I'm sorry, don't med shame people. Some of us need it. Will I need them for the rest of my life? I don't know. But right now, I definitely do. Last year was a rough one for me. A lot of things that I had never really dealt with, that I had just kind of, like, swept under a rug and masked over. All these things kind of came to light, and 31, 32 years old, had to start diving deep into the psyche of my mind and dealing with it. And you know, coming out of the relationship I went in, you know, we joke about him being a man child and this and that, but it was a very, very toxic relationship, and there was a lot of emotional abuse that I went through. And even afterwards, when we would, I mean, I don't talk about this, but we would get into these fights with each other months and months after we were broken up. Just like, he would shame me for finding out I did something and shame me for doing it. And these type of things, like, kind of came into play with this emotional abuse, and that made me spiral a lot. Like, one time he found out that I had, like, hooked up with somebody, and he was not happy about it. Like, he yelled at me.
Up, it's absolutely no place of his to even be worried about.
But some people are a little crazy, a little crazier than you are. But yeah, so I went through a lot of fucking emotional abuse last year too. So that's what kind of led me back into therapy and to get back on medication.
I think heartache is one of the scariest things that people can go through, that makes you feel so hopeless and so lost and so broken, especially when you are in love with somebody that doesn't want to be there for you anymore. And that is one of the hardest things, and that's probably taking more lives than you'll ever know. You know, I think it's just so hard to get through, and we've all gone through heartache and just trying to, like, manage and deal with those feelings, and people telling you, oh, time, and people trying to be there for you, and it's just, you're almost inconsolable because you have to just go through it.
You have to go through the motions. When I was there in my dark moment, it wasn't even thinking it out. It was just a very impulsive, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wake up tomorrow. That's pretty much how I felt.
I've felt pretty destitute, having some, I've never really struggled with depression. Mm-hmm. You know, I've never taken medication for it, but I did start to feel my first, like, panic attack, and even, like, depression, you know, after I had kids, which is very odd. And I think I think it could kick in for some women after they give birth. And I always thought, like, postpartum depression was like, you don't love your child. You know, it just, in extreme cases, you don't want to touch them, you don't want to be around them, you don't love them.
Oh yeah, because you hear about those women that, like, go through postpartum and they kill their babies. So that's what you can, like, get in your head.
Yeah, and you don't. And the same thing with depression and panic attacks. They come in so many different flavors and colors, and you don't. Yours may be so different that you're not recognizing that you are going through something. But I went through huge postpartum depression. I had a miscarriage between Vivian and Logan. I got
that's bad, especially because you have the one kid and you're trying for the other kid.
Yeah, and you know, I got pregnant and I lost it, and it wasn't as far along as, like, many pregnancies have been, and I just had to always try to like be optimistic about it. And the way I did it was just ignoring everything. I wasn't letting myself feel anything. I was like, it could have been worse. It could, I always try to like, you shut up. You don't have any reason to be sad. You could, just really putting a lot of blame. And I don't think Chris was as connected as I was, because it was growing inside me. And that probably happens a lot with females, because your partner doesn't feel as much as you do because you're not carrying it. I mean, they could, but there wasn't much. And so I just remember kind of really having a moment where I didn't realize I was diving into everything. I was trying to like start this new certification on the side, and I was trying to like build websites, and I dive in so crazy, and I drive myself a little crazy. And in that term, I'm driving everybody else crazy. So I didn't realize it till I looked back on it, and I could see like I dyed my hair pink. I mean, like, I could...
a girl's going through some shit when she changes her hair up.
Yep.
But you know what? That's interesting, because when I went through my miscarriage, I remember thinking to myself, too, other women have had it worse, so why do I feel so bad? And
it's okay to give yourself, like, it's okay to feel bad, and it's okay to
feel bad. And you
don't have to compare.
After my last relationship, I was talking to one of my best friends about some of the emotional abuse I had went through, and then I just kind of went, whew, but it could have been worse. And she said, abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, I think we as women say, well, somebody else had it worse, so I shouldn't feel so bad about it because somebody else had it worse. And
sometimes it can help you pull you out of a funk when all you can see is how terrible your life is. I mean, that, but it's also okay to acknowledge your situation and how terrible it is. And you don't have to always compare, you can just be like, this is something I went through, and this is how I have to deal with it. And I'm okay to feel like it's the worst feeling in the fucking world, or I feel like the worst person in the world. It's okay to feel.
I think we as women too, I think miscarriages are much more common, but none of us talk about them.
I was surprised how many people opened up to me that had them and went on to have more kids too. Once they have them.
Once you go through it, you like don't want to talk about it, and then once you talk to somebody else, they're like, oh, I've had one too. It's very, very common.
It's extremely common, and it's extremely devastating no matter how long it went. And the situations could go insanely bad.
But I remember part of the thing that got me so low after my miscarriage is like the guy and I had broken up. I found out I was pregnant. Then I started miscarrying, and I said, I lost this baby because I didn't want this baby.
Yeah.
And I blamed myself so much.
I've heard that before from other people. Just talking about things with people, and you feel like, oh, you can't wish it away, you can't stress yourself away, you can't.
It just now that I'm 32, God, I'm 5, 6, like doing the math, I'm like, how many years out of this? I can look back on it and be like, actually, that was just divine, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, whatever you want to believe in. You don't believe in anything, you don't believe in anything, but that was, to me, the universe's way of saying I did not need to bring that soul into a family.
Yeah, and there's always there's always a reason for timing, and you just sometimes you're going through some shit and you can't imagine moving past it or why, and then you look back and you're like, it's just the way things had to be.
Yep.
And everything heals with time and acceptance, but going through things where you can kind of pinpoint, okay, that's what happened. But what about those times when you just don't know what the fuck, why you're in a funk or why you're just feeling a certain way? Because I just know like for me, postpartum happened big time after I had Logan.
I remember I watched you had a panic attack once, and you were like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And I said, I think you're having a panic attack, girl.
Yeah, we had one. I was sitting in the studio and I was like, this is so bizarre. Like I felt like I was going to black out, and I was breathing heavy, and it's new. And it's also like, what is bringing this on? So
sometimes nothing triggers it, though. That's the one thing that, like, when I had my panic attack this week, like, I was very open about it, and people were like, well, what triggered it? And I was like, I don't think anything triggered it. Sometimes you just get so overwhelmed with life that your body just reacts.
A lot of little things can add up.
And that's kind of what happened to you. Like, you had a really bad day. You were already in kind of a funk. The kids were being kids, and
it was just a lot. And I had to stop myself and realize, like, okay, you need to just kind of you just need to sit down and figure out your shit. What is first thing coming to your mind that's bugging you? What is really going on, and quit ignoring things. And for me, I've noticed the more as I've getting to know myself, and since I had a panic attack, since I've gone through depression, for me, it's things that kick me out of my routine, like getting hurt. I throw my fucking back the last week, because I'm old. I don't know.
She sneezed and threw her back out.
Like, I don't even know what happened, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm hurt, or like sometimes you get sick, and like you can't go work out. That's kind of where I get my mental clarity, and so stuff like that can really get me down. And the other night when we were talking, I didn't know. I was just so frustrated and so overwhelmed and sad feeling, and this and that and all the things just piled up on me. I think Chris and I got in a big fight too. It was just everything. And I had a moment to where I said, I can see, you don't understand why anybody would take their own life or do anything. But I said, this feeling at this moment is a clear feeling of why people just say, fuck it. Because they don't see any way out. I was like, I can see why people can do that. I would never do that, because I know all the people, it would be maybe putting myself out of my misery, but all the people that I would leave behind, it would be the worst thing I could ever do that to them, and I would never do that to them.
I would become a ghost and find your ghost ass and kill you again.
Yeah, like it's all the people you left behind that are still going to be in more pain than you ever were.
And when I get to my lowest points, it's weird because we all have those people. I mean, I don't know if we all do, but I think of certain things. Like, I think of my father, for example. Like, when I get to my lowest points, it's like, if I did something to myself, that man would never smile again. And he's like one of my best friends in the world. Oh my God, I'm crying over this.
No, we knew this. Yeah. We knew this was going to be a hard one to talk about, but we wanted to be open about.
And that's nothing against you or any of my other best friends. That's just something that, like, my father is somebody who just has always kept me going. Yeah, because like my dad had a fucking rough upbringing, and that man, he inspires me because he had a shitty life, and I don't need to get into it, but he definitely had some shit happen to him, and he managed to, just come out of it. He owns his own fucking business. He had a cancer scare this year, and he's still like out there, like,
thank God.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yes, he's fine.
We had a cancer scare, but he's still out there. Like, he works every day. He does this thing. Like, my dad is like, he's my hero. He's my Superman.
Yeah. And what if there's people that are like, I don't think anybody would care. There is going to be.
You are somebody's Superman.
Yes, you are.
I don't care who you are.
Somebody lives for your light. And I will say one thing about Brittany is that, like, we became very fast friends.
You guys did. You fell in love with Brittany as quickly as you fell in love with Chris.
Oh my God. Like, she was like my new favorite friend, because we fell hard for each other. We had real talks. We had real time.
You guys would go work out together. You'd climb mountains together.
I didn't know her very long, but I have missed her so much. And just, and people, everybody I talked to, mutual friends and stuff, they were just beside themselves in grief, and just like, it still chokes me up. And I've lost people before, but it still surprises me how much it really affected me.
Because I think with what happened, it's just, there was no expectations on that. It was completely unexpected. Like,
yeah. It really was. And it was so out of the blue. And we were expecting her that morning.
And then you called me crying, and I didn't understand. And I couldn't, like, you were crying, and I was like, you were telling me something, and I went, what?
I had just gotten home with cupcakes, bottle of wine,
the wine we're drinking.
I pulled out her birthday card. I found it.
Yes, and we got flowers for her, too.
Yep. I found her birthday card this week. It said, sip, sip, hooray. I found it 2 days ago.
What's crazy?
I said, Bree,
she found it. She called me, and she said, I found the birthday card that we got for Brittany, and I said, that means because we've been talking about doing this
desk drawer stuff.
Like, we had been talking about doing this episode, and I said, that's her telling us that we need to fucking do it this week then and get it over with, because we keep talking about doing it and then avoiding it.
Yeah. And
it was like, bitches, do it.
Yeah. The people we really wanted to introduce you to her. If you want to just admire the beautiful person and her words and stuff, she wrote the most beautiful poetry and
deep fried thoughts.
Yeah. But she's at Brittany Cason on Instagram. Just admire the
her
gorgeous.
Stuff's still up.
I love her words. She spoke so well. She was very deep.
Yeah.
And Bree and I aren't perfect. You know, we go through shit too. Sometimes it's unexpected, but I also want to talk about, what do you do when you're spiraling? Like, what do you do? What is the best? What can you do when you have a panic attack? What do you do?
I have to feel my way through it. I have to.
Is it different every time?
It's different every time. I have to ride the emotional wave. That's the only way I can get through it, because I think this is what brought on anxiety. I had a really, really bad ex when I was 19 who that's all we need to say. Instead of dealing with what I went through with him, I just kind of swept it under the rug and never dealt with it. And then later in life, it kind of all fucking hell within the past few years, all of it kind of came to light that there's this issue I had never dealt with that guess what, now I'm dealing with it, guys. I've realized that sweeping my problems under the rug is not good. As much as I want to try to be perfect and fun and laughing and just be that strong person for everybody, sometimes I've got to ride my emotional waves too. So that's the one thing I've realized with panic attacks is I got to ride through them. And when I'm depressed, I've got to ride through the emotional wave. I've got to get through it. And so far, I've been pretty good at writing them and coming out. Do you feel like you need to talk to somebody, or do you feel like you have to breathe? No, I mean at that moment when it's happening. Yes, I have. When people can feel very I have a tendency to try and breathe through it. Sometimes I will call people and try to cry through it. Sometimes I might need somebody to talk to.
I told her, I said, I wish you would have called me. I was like, I was going through my own weird shit too.
And but other times I can't talk to people in that moment because I don't even make sense to me. Yeah. So I don't want to talk to somebody else. I need to get into more rational brain and not in panic brain. That's when we talked the next day, because I was literally having this. We literally had a very crazy week emotionally, and I said, I wonder why we're so good at like turning our weaknesses into strengths. When we talk through things, like we're like, boom, well, let's take this and let's use that to be stronger, and we know how to do that. And I think exactly what you said, like I didn't feel rational. I didn't understand why I was feeling that way. I just felt so crazy. Chris was sleeping. I have a couple other people I would have called. Like I couldn't even call my mom. I couldn't, but I was like, I'm not going to call anybody. I don't even understand what's wrong. And you know what I did is I ended up making Chris's lunch, and I usually leave him a little good morning, handsome. Good morning, sexy. Don't forget your lunch. I love you. And after that, I just kept writing, and it just started pouring out of me whatever was on my mind and whatever was frustrating me. And I was crying and I was writing it down, and I realized how beneficial that was to me. Like that's what I needed. I needed to write it down, and I didn't even know I was going to write it down. Yeah. But I feel like if you can write something and you don't have anybody to talk to, and you just grab that paper and just write the first word that comes out of your head, and it's crazy how healing it is, and it's just something weird that works for me. Oh, writing has always been one of my go-tos. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's just like write down what you're feeling, what your frustrations are. That is something that helped pull me out, and I just remember feeling such a relief after just getting that on paper. And sorry he had to read that, but you know what, though? Sometimes writing needed to be communicated. Sometimes writing really brings up some really great things, though. Like I can honestly say with my writing, like it really, really helps me. I'm trying to pull up something that I've written just to, just to go through it. Let me go through. Let me see. So keep talking, because I'm phone looking right now.
You know, I haven't dealt with much depression or anxiety, and I just when it hits me, you know, it's kind of a new thing, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get through it. But for me, when there's nobody around, I need to write things out and write out my feelings. Just watching TV wasn't doing it. Just ignoring, you know, I hurt myself. I hurt my stupid back, so I couldn't like go do yoga or stretch or anything. So I just had to write.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
No, I found something I wrote on January 28th, 2015.
Wow. Oh, wow.
5 years ago.
Almost to the day.
Yeah, I wrote this randomly in my writing. Not randomly. I wrote this in my writing class. This is so far in my notes. I don't even know how I found this. Holy shit. I'm still a little creeped out right now.
Let's hear it.
Being overwhelmed.
Wow.
Yes. So the prompt was, write about what happens when you feel overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed to me falls into different categories. Now, 2015, I was in a very, very dark time, guys. So, Number 1, the daylight. I fear when the night meets the day. I will have night after night of sleeplessness, and then in the morning I'll have to face the light, face the real world. I hate when the night meets the daytime. When I'm in one of my states, it's overwhelming to me to have to function as an adult and an actual human being when I've stayed up all night, tossing and turning with my anxiety-ridden brain. I get overwhelmed by the thoughts in my head, the ones that take over and tell me I'm not good enough, and I'll never be good enough. The ones that told me I don't love myself enough to ever be loved by anybody. The thoughts that tell me how broken I am. The thoughts that bring out all the insecurities I've ever had. The thought that bring out all the bad things ever said to me. They overwhelm me and consume me. Number 3, sometimes I get overwhelmed just trying to get out of bed on my days off. Sometimes it's hard for me to even move. I just want to lay in my room and be alone with myself. Keep my blackout curtains closed so I don't have to know the difference between the day and midnight. Because getting out of bed is hard. Because trying to be a functional human is hard. Because trying to be me is overwhelming. Holy fuck.
That was some real shit right there.
January 28th, 2015. That's how I felt, guys.
Wow.
Fuck. Why did I find that?
It was 5 years ago. That's crazy that you would find something that touches on exactly what we're talking about.
That was just the universe throwing that out there for us.
Yeah, it was. We just really wanted to take a pause right now. We wanted to remember a great friend that did something so terrible and so scary and so insane that the wound will never heal. And it's still so dark. We've all gotten those places we might have thought about doing something like that. And we just want to remind you that
don't.
Oh my God.
Just don't do it.
The people you leave behind are never going to heal. And they're going to miss you forever. And no matter what you're going through, there's a way to get through. Maybe you've gotten in trouble. Maybe you've lost somebody you can't live without. Maybe you feel like you've lost a job. Maybe you've hurt yourself and your life has changed forever. Whatever it is, you're going to find a new way to cope through life, and you're going to find a new life. And there's going to be a new way of living. And just trust.
I mean, I have an addict parent, and my mom was an addict. And, you know, if you're deep in addiction, there's a way out. I promise you. I've seen it firsthand. It's rough, but it's there. But if you are feeling so dark, please, I know how hard it is to reach out, but even if you just want to talk to a stranger, fucking slide into my DMs, write an email. I don't give a fuck. Like, we will both offer that to you. Yeah.
I'm at MJ Radio Diva on
I'm
Instagram.
At Bree Mix. Come on, guys.
And I mean, seriously, if you just want somebody to chat with, or just please, you know, just say, I just need a hand right now. Whatever you got to say,
yeah.
You know, just if you want somebody to talk to, like, we would love to be here for you. Get us now before we get insanely popular.
It's already sold out. Sorry, we had to throw one in there.
No, but You know, I'll always make time for somebody who really needs it, a stranger or not, because I think there's so much value in just somebody listening.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you talk out things, you understand yourself more. For me, it's when I write things, I can write it and get it out, and I'm like, oh, that's what was bothering me. And that's why Bree and I sit down every week and we do this, and that's why we love doing it, because we're able to talk about things that we don't even really fully understand until the end of the episode.
And then we realize, like,
why
we joke about it often, but you know, a lot of the dark shit I've been through, a lot of the dark shit you go through, we have to say it in a funny way, and it's not because we're putting on a show for you guys or whatever. It's just because, like, that's the way our fucked up brains have to process.
And you know what? We really challenge each other to turn our weaknesses into strengths. Like, we really, really try to do that, because we can try to find the silver lining in everything, and we want to do that with you. You know, like. You said your friend that was helping you talk through the panic attack, he made some jokes and just kind of made you feel a little, you know, there's ways, there's people out there that are just going to try to
call me in the middle of my panic attack who just wasn't expecting what he got out of me, but oh man, did he handle it so well.
Yeah, just be thankful that there are people there. If there's nobody there, write something down. There's chat lines. There's like places you can go.
The number for the suicide hotline in the notes, guys.
Yeah,
just call the suicide hotline. Like I said, just slide into our DM, send us an email. Like, just get it out there somehow. If you need to just. Oh God, whatever you need.
If you're ever just doubting yourself, I doubt myself constantly as a mom, as a wife, boundaries, if I'm doing shit right. Like,
that's the thing. That's the thing
constant.
That's the thing that because I always I'm doing everything wrong. I tell this to my therapist all the time, and she's like, "You're doing things right for you in that moment."
Yeah.
One of the things that my therapist is trying to make me do, and I've made a new friend with somebody who he's on board with this too. Not the friend that we were just talking about with the panic attack. The guy I hooked up with, I made friends with his roommate.
Okay.
The guy I hooked up with, I made friends with his roommate. I don't know. But he every time he would give me a compliment, I would say like a really bad thing about myself, and he was just like, "Damn it, woman, just take the fucking compliment."
Yes.
And so I was talking to my therapist about it, and she goes, "Well, I think it's time for you to start trying to look through the eyes of the people that love you and see yourself that way." And I looked at my therapist, so I said, "Man, if I could do that, I wouldn't be paying you once a week."
Oh, God, right?
But I think that's something that maybe this is a self-love challenge I'm dropping to all you keepers, and you too.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to try to see yourself through the eyes of the people that love you.
And really hear the things that they're saying to you.
Yeah.
Like, really hear them.
Like, my the guy I hooked up with, his roommate said to me, like, he made me cry in Ulta because he said the sweetest fucking thing to me. Because he was just like, we were talking about self-esteem, and I was like, yeah, sometimes. I was like, my self-esteem's not the greatest. And he was like, I don't understand why. He said, you're gorgeous, you're smart, you're funny, you're driven. He goes, and not necessarily in that order, but you have all these qualities. And I was just like, fuck, this isn't even a guy who has a crush on me. This is just a guy who is my
Respects
friend.
you.
Respects me, yeah.
I thought you already knew all that stuff. When we talk, you know. But, you know, that's how I see you, too.
You fake that bad bitch mentality, but you're not really one.
A lot of us got to really fake it till we make it,
It's
you know.
true.
We're never sure if we're doing the right things in life. Nobody gave anybody a book on their life.
Nope.
So maybe you're going through something with a family member, maybe a friend, maybe you're a parent that's just living with crippling mom guilt, dad guilt. Like, it's a thing. Like, it's okay, you know. Like, just shake it off and just know you're going to do better. I always look at the next day. I don't give a fuck about New Year's resolutions. Every day I try to wake up and be better. Sometimes I need to, for me, like, that's just my thing. I have to write it out. Like, if I got too many things, when I'm overwhelmed, I have to write down a plan for the next day. Like, here's some things I want to do, you know, just here's some little things to like get me closer to my goal. So before we go, I like doing a little rapid fires. So this one's kind of a self-love and just kind of a reminder to check in. I want you, as you're listening, I want you to kind of think about this for yourself too. So it's called a first step rapid fire.
Good.
Okay, you ready, Bree?
Yes, I'm ready.
And then we're going to say goodbye because we just wanted to check in really quick.
And I got to pee.
We wanted to check in. We wanted to say we love you so much, Brittany Cason.
And we love you, keepers.
And we love all of you, and we're here for you, okay?
Yes.
First step. When I notice myself withdrawing from friends and family and things I usually love, what is my first step?
Book a therapy appointment. That's 100%. Yeah. What about you?
Okay.
Work out.
Acknowledge it and probably write down a plan for tomorrow.
Write down. Oh, that's a good one.
To do something that I really love.
Yeah.
To do something that's going to make me feel accomplished and smart and strong and like remind myself that I am in control of my life.
I guess probably first I cry it out and then I book a therapy appointment.
Yeah. I'm crying as I'm writing. Yeah.
I'm crying as I'm like, please get me in immediately. I need 2 sessions this week.
There it is. It's all of a sudden taking control of your life.
Yeah.
Do a little something to take back some control.
Yeah.
All right. When I'm feeling hopeless and lost and I don't have anyone to talk to, what is my first step?
Writing.
Yeah.
That's where I go write. That's where I write it all out.
What if some people maybe, we've talked a lot about like writing. What about an outlet like maybe you draw?
Yeah.
Maybe you're an artist.
Whatever your artistic outlook is. If you're a comedian, write a joke. If you're a if you're a singer, sing a song. If you're you don't even have to write a song. Sing your favorite fucking song.
Yeah, loudly. Yes.
Even if you're not a singer, go in the shower. I always tell my friends when they say they're feeling down, I say take a shower and cry it out.
Steamy shower. Yeah, steamy shower, cry it out.
Cry it out.
Do the healing mask, do the face mask, do
you don't even have
all
that.
Of
Just turn the water on as hot as you can tolerate it. And this is another thing I do when I'm super depressed. I'll turn the water on as hot as I can tolerate it. I'll sit on the bottom of the fucking tub and I'll cry it out.
Mm-hmm. Go organize your closet. Pull everything out of your closet.
If you can organize your closet deep in the depths of depression, you are my fucking hero.
I will.
Because I am the opposite. If my room is a disgusting pigsty, that means I have gone very dark in my life.
That's what I would like. No, I have to. My thing is like I have to gain control over anything, like making plans or like.
That's why you're a dom.
I would like pull every single thing out of my fucking closet and be like, I need to feel amazing tomorrow. I want to wake up and have new outfits. So I'm going to put all my favorite shit back in first and get rid of the rest. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good one. No, I like it.
Oh.
When you're depressed, you want to come clean my closet out?
I will. I'm like Monica from Friends. I show up. I'm like, I heard your closet is crazy. I need to come clean.
The closet is crazy right now.
Okay. All right, guys. One last thing, okay? We want you all to know that we love you and we're here for you. We want to make you laugh and smile and keep you going every week, okay?
Yes.
What is one little thing I can do for myself tomorrow? First step.
Oh.
Actually, I put today, but I feel like it's late, so I'm saying tomorrow. Tomorrow. Make a plan for tomorrow. Giving yourself hope for tomorrow. What is one little thing you can do for yourself tomorrow?
I'm getting my lashes done tomorrow. Does that count?
Fuck yeah. Jealous. So jealous. Buy my favorite Chanel. Ah!
This episode is sponsored by Get Lashed by Jan.
Yes. Follow her on Instagram. She will drive to you if you're in Vegas. If you're not in Vegas, she'll fly to you. Just hook up the flight.
Janelle's like, fuck you both.
Yeah, so you're doing something to be pretty. One little thing I can do for myself tomorrow, I'm going to throw a kick-ass birthday party.
Yeah, you
for
are.
The little diva.
Yeah, you are. You're going to throw a You know what I did when I felt out of control this week? I cut 2 inches off my hair and cut myself bangs.
Bangs. There it is, you guys. Not always suggested to cut bangs when you're feeling out of control.
Don't do it. But I did it.
She looks gorgeous.
And I look good with them.
You're a total Bardot right now. Yeah. Cut your hair. Do something new. Take back control of your life. Do one little thing that gives you control.
Power and control. That's a Marina and the Diamond song. I don't have anything else to say. I don't
either.
I think that's it. I really do have to pee.
Okay, well, we just wanted to step on and say we love you and we're here for you always. Please slide in anytime you just want to chat.
Yes.
We'll get back to you and we're here for you. We love you.
We love you. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, good times. We hope you related.
If so, let us feature you. Email us at feedback@keepingitcasualpodcast.com or show you're a keeper on Facebook. Like the Keeping It Casual page and join the group.
Yes, bonus. If you rate and review on Apple Podcasts, you get into our monthly Keeping It Casual swag giveaway. It's the last Wednesday of every month.
More hookups when you share us on your Instagram stories at Keeping It Casual Podcast.
That's right. Find me anywhere socially at MJ Radio Diva.
And I'm everywhere at Bree Mixed, BreeMixed.
Keep it casual.
Bye.